Good morning, welcome to a morning outlook. This is Kim speaking on Monday the 11th of September. So let's get on and look at these markets. Actually, before we do that, just look at the risk events coming out today, and in fact I'll look ahead a little bit on this particular recording. So today we've got very little coming out. We've had the G20 meetings, which we're seeing a bit of overspill of comments coming through this morning. Side of that then, there's not a great deal there today. With Chinese new loans, that's it. So a quietish day expected. Tomorrow we got the UK employment data, so that could well affect the pound coming into tomorrow. And then we've got UK GDP on Wednesday. It's the month-on-month figures. It tends to have a lesser impact, but can still, in the current environment, could still create some volatility. And more importantly, though, at 1:30 on Wednesday, we've got the inflation data for the US. Now, this inflation data, along with Thursday's inflation data, could start getting things rolling. But in the midst of all that, we shouldn't ignore the Australian employment report, but more importantly, the ECB meeting and new interest rates. Now, it's expected that this is going to be left at 4.25. It's a real mix in some of the things I read in terms of expectation. There for some think there might be one more, but it has certainly gone softer, the potential, and maybe there might be one more, but not in September. Okay, and then, as I say, we've got the inflation data and retail sales from the US at 1:30 on Thursday. That could well create some volatility. The reason I'm going through it now is because the markets will start tightening up a little bit when we got key news like this coming out. We generally see this cycle of more consolidated markets. They get a bit slower. We've got to wait until next week to get the US data, the Fed meeting, and look at what they're doing and saying. So it's the beginning of that slow cycle, basically, in normal terms. Let's look at the markets themselves. Euro dollar. As expected, I was looking at this and talking about it on Friday about it catching a bit of a turn. Well, it tried its best, it looked, on Friday in the afternoon session, only to come back down. But this morning it's continuing this sort of very light movement, and well, there is scope for this to push up further. So there is a start of this sort of potential turning point here. Structurally we changed. We put higher lows in, a break of the Friday's high there will sort of confirm this move even further. But I wouldn't be overly shocked if we saw chopping this. It starts chopping a little bit more with the news due on Thursday, but for now it's certainly catching the curve, if you like. The pound is showing a similar sort of situation here. The pound dollar just short of this sort of key pivotal area that's been there for some time. Again, it's put a higher low in again on Friday. It tried its best, but it only fell to this morning late, well, really mostly late Friday into this morning, though. The sort of shove back to the upside there, again breaking the trend, giving us a more convincing higher low there. So structurally these markets may have changed, which gives us scope to look at the upside. I'm as I say, wary with the euro. Maybe the pound isn't that strong. Now we're seeing this movement here on the dollar yen. Well, that was a result, and some pictures that the Bank of Japan governor remarked in terms of a stealth exit from the current ultra easy monetary policy. Now, unless that's actually put into words, it can be pretty meaningless. And yes, we could see these, as I said last week. There's always that risk of it turning. Well, here's a risk. It's certainly chunked down quite a considerable amount from the open, and from the open actually it gapped straight down, and we've seen this sort of move down here. Now it's to me it's still on the upper side as long as it sits above the 145 sort of area, but we'll see how things develop here. If it starts pushing off through there and we see some more comments coming through, that might just tip it, but it's not tipped quite the same. Yes, we've had a triple top here, and well, I guess we've broken the lows between the triple top, so maybe that is the sort of signal, but yeah, it has put lower highs in. Maybe it's followed the suit of the others. One that's pushed up strongly this morning is the Aussie dollar. Aussie dollar again. We saw so many multiple hits last week along this level where I've got my alert purposely. There's a whole stack of sell orders sitting below here, which are still sitting below here. But it looks like this market's, well, it's had a good run. The commodity currencies have had a good shove over the early session, this week's early session there, and solid movement. And again, well, to be fair, with the Aussie doing what it did, it eventually came to that point where it was either going to break it or take it to the upside, and it's taking it to the upside here. And again, it's it looks like there was enough buyers to come in here, and then we've seen it follow through. So for now at least it's looking good, as is the Canadian dollar here. It's started a bit sudden movement, and as I say, this is all more into a weaker dollar than anything else. There are a couple of cross pairs that are looking okay, which I'll come on to in a moment. Lower highs here on the Canadian dollar, difficult one to try and jump aboard, because there's a lot of them, they've already moved so far for the day. Now they will be moving out of their genuine true range, their average true range, their daily routes. They'll be chunking out of them quite a bit if they do continue to move, but we'll see. I'm a bit more cautious on these. New Zealand dollar, much the sameness as the Aussie there. So we've seen all these commodity currencies, it's put the higher low in on the 4 hours. You can see it a little bit more. It also had that sort of last week chopping along there. Friday managed to get a bit more oomph, although everything sold off in the afternoon there, but only to see another shove here at the moment. Swissy's eased back a little bit, but not as much. It's just that the US dollar seems to be holding on there better than most places. Well, we've seen the big money coming out of the Swissy for a little while, so it's probably no surprise here to see this as the sort of the weaker one, and the US dollar still pushing reasonably well. However, the baby goes out with the bathwater effectively. In this case, it might just benefit. The Swissy might benefit a little bit more. We'll see more downside than the dollar Swiss here. We'll see, but for now, yeah, got hopes on it. Now, looking at some of the crosspairs I normally like the look of and trade is things like the euro yen. The euro yen here, it's been kicking around the highs here. Of course, the yen influence has seen it coming off here. Lower highs coming here. We've taken out some of these bottoms. I keep on pointing to these bottoms as being quite key. Well, it's done it at the moment. Now, it's whether or not the yen can hold on to its gains effectively across the markets, and how much the markets believe that there is going to be a stealth change or some sort of change within the policies in Japan. But for now, well, yep, it's tripping over. A lot of these retail traders that have been trying to short this, they might get a bit of money back, some returns after all their losses. It'll be the one they talk about, I'm sure, if it works, that is. Euro pound still chopping. Let's just look at a couple of the other suspects. The Aussie, Euro Aussie is moved down too far here for me to do anything with. Euro CAD was moving a short while ago. Okay, that's quite nice in a sense. We'll see what happens here, but the Euro CAD's got some potential here. I'm glad this has done a little reversal here. Now there's a bit of scope to look for the breakdown of the current bar. It's putting its bear flag there. It's started the move, but catching a bit of a bid at the moment. Maybe some profit taking from the shorter time frames here. We'll see what develops here, but really I'm looking on the short side down towards the S1. Stops over the high, so quite simple. The pound Aussie again already gone too far, but the pound CAD potential. The only thing is the pound just seems to be holding slightly better against some of its peers here, and obviously against the dollar, and it's just holding that little bit better. Hasn't got the legs in it. I prefer the Euro CAD of the two. So instead of the pound CAD, look at the Euro CAD. I know it's already started going, but we'll see if we can grab some of that as we move through the morning. Okay, pound yen. I was looking at this last week. It's rolling over, but yeah, not a lot of action there. Okay, quick look at the gold. Quick look at gold. Sorry, my children are just leaving and saying their goodbyes. That's it. Gold also benefited overnight here. It really still needs to get back above its monthly pivot for me to be interested on the longer side, but it still looks quite ugly where it is at this stage. So it's moving in the right direction. Quick look at silver today. Special on silver. Is the silver going to come good again? It's one that it goes into some really quite big cycles at times, but well, I need to look at this a little bit more. It's still in this quite tight range here, really looking at the top end of this for continuation, but might have an opportunity to buy at the bottom end of this range. It's tried it once already. We'll see what develops there, but silver looking a tad, well, some promise maybe. Okay, looking at oil. Oil consolidating around here. As I said last week, I'm really looking for some value in this. I need it to retrace more for me to become a buyer again. At the moment it's putting in a rather ugly pattern, and yes, it could break that pattern as we move into the northern hemisphere's winter, but for now not for me. Sitting there just looking at it, not really for me. May have some opportunities, more scalpy opportunities. I don't like them so much. Quick look at the equity markets. The CSI 300, well, slight gains there, but to me it still remains bearish, and technically it's still bearish. The Nikkei coming off there, that stealth changes, not going to help at all there, and it's held down at the moment, but we'll see what develops from that. The Nifty 50 continuing now this more bullish route here, and it's well underway. It broke the trend. It's been edging its way up there, looking more solid. Aussie 200 trying to gain overnight here, but it's still quite a mixed place. That I'll leave that for now. More importantly, S&P's holding up this morning. We've seen the selling off in Japanese and markets. Often that sort of leaks its way through, particularly with things being commented on, but this is holding up quite well. I was looking at the big money over the weekend. That's running into a little bit back into the equity markets. Seeing a lot of comments in terms of the markets going on to a big bear cycle, and there's all sorts of things coming through on emails that I don't ask for, unsolicited emails that I get from the US, which probably means that they're trying to talk it down. We'll see. It might that in itself might see it push up a bit, or these American markets move back up there, but they all are sort of sitting at the moment. Whether they get a push up today, we'll see. It's a bit of an each way bet with some of them. I was looking at them last week, and they still look to a tad on the sort of bearish side. Okay, we're starting to put a few days in a row now on the Dow back positive, and well, as I say, they could be switching round. Coming close to home with the DAX. The DAX also here catching a bit of a the bid on this morning. Friday it did that quite quite ugly moves really. I say Friday at the end of the week. It was Friday. It certainly sold down, but last week it was a quite an ugly market at times. However, it could be a bit of a turn, occurring. It's a bit like the euro dollar, etc. It looks like very similar to the currencies in terms of what we're seeing here. Higher low coming in. It has hit its R1, but not its daily pivot. If it starts rolling over, where the pivot becomes a bit of a target. However, break of the highs here, could see it pushing on for the rest of the day there in a more positive way. FTSE, we're running into double top sort of territory where it is at the moment. It's market opens, cash market opens, and it's open now, so it has got the cash in there. You look at it on the bigger picture here into the dailies, and it has got some scope for some. If you can break that, it gives us a confirmed higher low and maybe a bit more positivity coming through here. Okay, that's pretty much it there. I will just look at a couple of, didn't look at them much last week, so I'll just look at them from a daily point of view. There you go. Bitcoin still remaining largely flat, not really going anywhere. Ethereum, same old picture here. Chainlink, I was looking at last week for somebody. It started turning up again, but it's rolled back again. Litecoin is okay. All these markets are, for me, they're a bit dead in the water at the moment. Maybe if we start getting a more confirmed move, we'll see something happen with them. The fact that they're not been moving significantly either way here just suggests they're a bit disjointed at the moment. Okay, on that note, I wish you a great day. Trade carefully out there, and I'll catch you in the morning. Bye for now.